I mean, thinking about it and just talking from my own experiences, there was one time I was running a table, and again, just this goes back to communication is kind of key. And like I had like an interesting plot that I wanted to run out, and like one of the players had like a pet familiar which I had, and they were like really excited to get speak with animals. And this is entirely my fault. I will be upfront and say that. And it was the level before they got the level up where they could speak with animals. I had taken the familiar away, and I didn't kill it or anything like that. It was the setup for like the quest to go get the familiar, and then they would get the level up so that way they could talk to them like they wanted to on the first level up. This was not well received. The second that they thought their familiar was taken away from them, the player started bawling. I felt absolutely horrible. I was like, this was going to be this whole interesting thing. And it's, you have these great ideas sometimes, but sometimes the players also can't, they don't know what's happening. They feel scared, and they feel like maybe some agency or part of them is being taken away. And it's a really, really bad feeling when it doesn't go that way. I had to immediately retcon the whole thing. We like scrapped the end of the session, and we went back, and I had to have like a long heart to heart communication with that player. Like, hey, I'm sorry that it worked out this way. I had this whole thing planned, and I didn't mean that the familiar died, anything like that. It was just taken away briefly, but that was enough where it impacted their character so greatly they felt it, and they felt extraordinarily hurt by it. Again, that's one of the things where you have to like talk to your players. Again, collaborative storytelling. Even though it's supposed to be like one of these great moments that you have planned, if it goes wrong, or the player feels as if their agency is being affected, or their character is going to be harmed in a major way, it can affect them very greatly. And I will never forget that. And I've never done anything like that ever again after how it made them feel. Um, just goes to show that communication with between players and the DM, even if it's on a sidebar, being like, "Hey, would this be okay? How would you feel if this happened?" For those major impactful moments, and it's hard because you don't want to spoil it. Like it's you have something great planned, but again, just having that idea and that open communication and like trying to give the player what they want while building this amazing story is a very fine line that is very hard to do, especially for first time DMs. And a lot of people either go too far or don't go enough, and it's hard to find that middle ground.
Okay, Brontes, this one is all yours.
Cool. I get the longer one. It's fine.
It's about the same. I just did two smaller pictures.
The title for this one is The Worst D&D Group I Ever Played With, including me. I just really want to get this story off my mind. So my school has a D&D as an optional class. It's just a class where you pick an option for what you want to learn. It isn't important, so I'm going to skip it. I want to be a player because one of the party members was a person I was the DM for in the past. It went really bad.
So it's an elective.
Yeah.
Yep. The story was about something. We were on a session 20 or something, and I still don't know. It opens in a town full of aliens, quote unquote. We don't do much on session 1, but that was me getting drunk in a tavern. I missed 2 sessions after that, and apparently the mayor has been killed by the player I was DMing for in the past. All I knew were aliens that a mystic voice told me about, and I needed to kill them all to get out of here. The mystic voice isn't real, I just mentioned it because the DM said it was our goal, and no NPCs told us that. So I said I would kill every alien I see. Now I don't know. Don't know if it's my fault, but the DM made me shoot 10 people instead of summoning and summoned a Tarask because
Oh God, I don't.
Tarask, I don't know. We were set to level 15 in the session after that. The DM just reset the entire campaign. The only story advice after that was from a paladin who spoke to his patron. The DM also got really mad when it took a long time to figure something out. This is going all over the place.
Yeah, let's just take let's take a quick break.
Well, let's take a
We gotta unpack this. We gotta unpack this.
Yeah,
it sounds like
there's a lot happening here.
Okay, so
a high school game.
It's got to be high school.
Like 20?
Yeah, this has got to be some like after school activity high school class.
Yeah, that or it's like the for me like in high school, you had it was called Flex, and that's where you took your elective, and it just rotated down one block every day. So if this is like that, then they were playing every day for like an hour, like 50 minutes. And so maybe that's why it's so disconnected.
I was gonna say they bounced all over the place from like just starting at session 0, missing 2, and then
I don't even know if there was a session.
There's a Tarrasque.
I don't even know if there was a session 0. It just sounds like, hey, we're gonna play D&D. I'm taking D&D class. I get there, we're playing. It's session 1, aliens, and I got drunk. Then I missed 2 sessions. Maybe they were sick or something. And
someone died.
And then someone killed the mayor. And then aliens again. And then the DM failed to communicate the plot, so that's why he said mystic voice. And then they came in, they're like, okay, aliens are the problem. I guess I'm gonna kill all the aliens. And then the DM made him shoot just 10 random people. And doing that,
and then
summoned a
got mad and
Tarrasque.
summoned Tarrasque.
And they were. And then they were he said we were set to level 15, so either they leveled up to level 15 by unleashing the Tarrasque, or they were playing level 15 characters. And then the DM just was like, nah, we're running magic back.
Reset.
Do it all again. So 20 sessions, reset, right back to the beginning. And then he introduced a paladin who can speak to his patron. And also the DM got pissy because they weren't figuring out his riddles and his puzzles. But I haven't figured it out either because it's so disconnected. Maybe more will reveal itself. Let's get to the next paragraph.
The mayor didn't get killed this time, and we had to do some errands for 3 sessions because the paladin was never there. I also think the DM said there was over 100 to 500 mimics by this time.
When did we get mimics? Are those the aliens? Were the aliens
maybe that's what he means by aliens?
Maybe, but it sounds like it's a time loop campaign.
It might be.
Weird.
After that, we did some shenanigans with a shopkeeper who had a dragon egg under his counter for some reason. I shot him, and the DM said we lost karma. He summoned a Tarrasque when we reached 0. Also, he never explained how to gain karma. The mother dragon came, and I rolled my first nat 20 in the campaign. I rolled more after that, and the DM set some checks, almost all checks, to need a nat 20 or 20 to succeed.
So I'm still holding on to my loop theory, and every time they mess up, he dings them a point, and at the 0, they get a Tarrasque, and the Tarrasque kills everybody and resets
the universe.
It's what you get for shooting the shopkeeper in the face.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day, but instead of going to bed, the Tarrasque
you just get murdered by a Tarrasque.
Meanwhile, everything's a mimic. Okay, sorry.
I don't know what the story was about after this, so I'm just gonna say the events in the order I remember. We found the mayor's secret facility. That facility thing was hidden in walls that required a check to go through. There was a dragon egg in the facility that a bagman in our bag was holding. We brought it at like 5th level, was trying to steal it. This makes no sense how this dude typed this.
Maybe English second, maybe English not first language. Like, we'll give a benefit of the doubt. We'll just try to chug
probably.
Through it.
Unrelated, but I hated parties that are like, oh my god, bag of holding, oh my god, we need it. We never needed it. The DM also switched who had the egg when I took it from the bag man because he doesn't trust me. The party found baby dragons and tamed them while I chased the man who saw us in the wild facility thing. I was in a maze and rolled a nat 20 to see the maze. I accidentally found a dead end and tried to move, but the DM said I needed to wait until next turn. Before next turn, the man I was chasing locked down the facility, and we used the mother dragon from earlier to help us. We were found by the police, put in court, and we failed because the mayor gassed the town with the behemoth spray or something, and everybody but us got turned into a monster. Where is this going?
Behemoth spray? Mayor, why? I thought you were the guy we had to save.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe he's
the mother dragon.
Alien?
The mother dragon saved us again, and the DM had us help her defeat an ant infestation. I can tell you we tried everything to stop it without going into the middle that had hundreds of ants. The DM let us go to the middle that had almost no ants. all for some reason, and summon dynamite from thin air to blow up the queen. We then got transported into an amazing digital circus reference. The DM confirmed it. And that's when I had enough of his BS and started protesting, make D&D great again. For context, the previous party I still DM for did it at my table. I got kicked out of the party when I did it too much, but because it was class, I still do it because I just don't like him.
Wow. I need a drink.
Oh my god.
Actually, Ophis, I'm gonna be silent. I want you to be silent too. I want Alchema. Tell me your honest opinion, real quick.
This just sounds like the person running the table didn't know where they wanted to go, and they just kept changing it every couple of minutes.
Like every session, I feel like they had an idea beforehand, and they were like, "Oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be cool," and then they just kept doing it over and over because they had like 24 hours to think about it.
I don't even think they did that. You know what this reads like? This reads like someone went to ChatGPT and went, write me a fucking D&D session.
Yeah, write me a campaign
I think the DM,
for 1 hour sections.
And I think the DM was just like hitting that submit every time. He's like, okay, give me the next hour, and that's why it just falls apart. It's like we go from aliens to mimics, and the Tarrasque is there.
Thrown in here randomly,
and then there's a karma system that never gets explained, probably because you didn't make one.
That summons Tarrasques.
Yeah, and then the other dragon that they befriended after killing a shopkeeper who presumably was maybe an alien.
Taming more baby dragons somehow.
Yeah, baby dragons, and then also Bagman, and then also Mystery Maze with the police.
With Bagman in it.
With Bagman in it, and the mother dragon helps them, and then the police, like the straight up police show up.
They get sent to
not the guards.
Court.
No, not the guards. The police, the cops. Ice shows up.
A town got sprayed with behemoth spray,
which isn't an item in D&D that I know of, but it made everyone turn into, I guess, and it makes everyone turn, maybe for a plot point, like turn everyone into monsters. They have to try to cure everybody.
But could have been a
backstory item, maybe?
Maybe, and then it's like the mother dragon saves us again from the monsters.
Mother dragon DMPC.
And then protest for make D&D great again.
Yeah, well, even though before that, then they completely ignore the plot point about the town being turned into monsters. They don't save anybody, and then they go fight ants.
To which they just magically summon dynamite TNT out of nowhere.
And then they get transported into the amazing digital circus.
Yes.
TM. And honestly, I think at that point, maybe I would have had enough of the BS too. I don't know if I'd get myself kicked out. I might have just been like, hey,
I'm done.
I'm just going to go sit in the corner and read during this class.
I wish to have my character killed by a rock slide.
I mean, I can't fault this player for trying. It seems like they tried. They also don't type great, so maybe we're missing some things. But
yeah,
it seems like they ran a D&D session for someone. They're like, oh, cool, I had fun running it. They had fun playing in it. Now I get a chance to play. I want to play.
Well, at the start, they were talking about one of their party members as they DM'd them before, and they hated them as a player, so they didn't want to DM for them again.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. They're like, finally, I get to be the one having fun, right? I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah. The forever DM gets to play as a character for once.
And then it's like, okay, cool, and I get to play a level 15 character, which is awesome, because you never get to play that high level. And then the DM is just like, I don't like what happened, Tarrasque. I don't like what happened, reset. It's like,
You did too many bad actions, Tarrasque.
Yeah, bad actions on the karma system I never explained. And then you got punished for violating the karma system that I didn't tell you about. And reset. And also, all my checks are DC 20 or higher. So basically, every time you try something, you're failing.
Yeah, that sounds like a DM that didn't really know what he was doing, or...
Yeah, honestly, this just screams like fucking ChatGPT DM. It's like he's had the fucking laptop with him behind the DM screen, and it was just like, ask every time someone asks a question, he typed it in, and that's why the topics changed so much.
Yeah, if it was a high school class, I mean, I have a feeling it was just a high school student with their laptop, and they were like, let's just make something.
Dude, you get credit for this? You get credits? You passed? How do you get graded in D&D?
That is a good question.
Dude,
I wish that was a thing when I was in high school.
If you put up with this DM, you should get extra credit. Because I don't think I
get
could
an A+.
I think I would have just transferred to like music theory or something, man.
I would have taken a second gym class.
Yeah. I can't even give. I want so hard to give like creative, helpful advice, but there really isn't any to give. Just don't do this.
Don't jump topic every time you have a session.
Don't do whatever this is. Don't do it. If you're the player, I mean, yeah, were you kind of an asshole towards the end with the make D&D great again? I'm going to be disruptive. Sure, technically, they had enough of your BS, they kicked you out. But if that was an in-joke and he just didn't like that you're doing it to him, but he does it to you, he's being a baby. But I think being a baby is not his biggest problem because I don't think he knows how to write. I think he can write 3 or 4 sentences and then his like brain hurts and then he has to like take a minute and then write something else because he can't handle it.
That's what it felt like because he kept jumping stories in between stories.
Yeah, I also like how none of what happens is like D&D related. It's like, oh, there's a maze, and then there's ants, and we have to fight the ants, and it's not like, oh, I cast fireball. Someone summoned dynamite.
I really want to know where all of a sudden like the army of mimics came from.
Yeah, and also the range, 100 to 500 mimics. That's a lot of fucking
large
mimics.
That's a large variety or variation.
That's what. Yeah, I don't have any advice to give here. This
mimic town with behemoth spray.
Yeah, dude, that maybe this person is just English second language, and maybe every time maybe they put this through a translator.
Maybe. That could be possible.
And maybe, like, we were to assume that every time it's a different monster, it's meant to be, like, aliens or aberrations, and that is what the translator put it through. And so really it's just a bunch of shit with mimics and or aberrations, and then the dragon subplot, and the behemoth spray, but maybe the behemoth spray is alien spray, and it turned everyone into aliens, which are mimics. Then it kind of sort of makes sense. And it's almost like you're playing a Save the World, but just a really, really bad Save the World with a karma loop Tarask summoning reset system. Which means it really isn't a Save the World because you're not saving the world. Because if it resets every time you fail.
Yeah, it's a time loop.
It's a railroaded Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's a railroaded Groundhog Day.
You have to figure out the right way to do it, otherwise a Tarask will eat you.
Yeah, you're playing fucking ReZero D&D, where you're just like, if I just keep dying, eventually I'll find the path that leads me to the end.
I'll find the path that doesn't lead to Tarask death.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, eventually. Apparently it took more than 20 sessions, and he never found the path. So
I feel like this had to be over the entire course of a school year before this finally ended.
Honestly, I can't believe it. I can't believe they put up with it this long. I don't know how the other players put up with it this long.
I read this as obnoxiously fat GM. I'm so sorry. Obnoxiously fast GM and the main character. So I went to a local tabletop gaming convention, though you'll forgive me for not naming it. Since I don't have any local tabletop friends, I thought it would be a good opportunity to meet people and play some games I wouldn't otherwise. What instead happened was I was reintroduced to the wide gamut of DM and player types. Good, bad, and everything in the middle. Chaotic goblin game with a GM actively involving all players, all of whom were having a blast, A+ game. Last-minute nervous GM who stumbled through everything not properly prepared. Bless him. We love those ones. GM who spent most of the time info-dumping the game's lore rather than running the game. GM who didn't fully understand the system, but we all pulled together to have fun regardless. Premium game ruined by a player with a min-maxed bugbear character who talked half the time in a table of 6. Several character types were rendered irrelevant because he did almost everything, and we were instead mostly rendered to be his silent entourage. I think he may have one-shotted the end boss, but the GM was kind and gave everyone a turn of combat. However, this post isn't about them. This post is about the speed GM and the loud main character, the LMC, for the rest of the story. It was being done in an epic style D&D game where Adventurers League characters were able to participate and each table was playing simultaneously in the world. Sometimes what one table did, stuff with elementals, would instantly cause an effect at everyone else's table for a turn. That sounded like a blast. Honestly, that sounds like so much fun.
Dude, epics are crazy.
I sat at the table while the GM interacted little with those of us who were there. Usually, this time is reserved for setup, so after a few minutes, I asked him what characters are available to play. He seems instantly annoyed and asked, "You didn't make a character?" Well, no, because the description said pre-gens were available. He leaves and returns minutes later with an enormous stack of sheets, and just to make it easy, I chose the top. Barbarian. Then at the start, we all introduced ourselves. The GM warned us that he sometimes talks pretty quickly, and he's sorry about it. But it's because of the tism. The aforementioned bugbear player was coincidentally there, but he was a pretty chill in this game. The problem player introduced himself, noting that he had the initials DM. We even had someone at the table who, like me, didn't have tabletop friends, so he was looking forward to the game.
Checking in at this point, I think there's a few things we could take from this. First of all, this person should be a writer because this is structured very well.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Second, yeah, I mean, they're right. There are a lot of different kinds of D&D games. Many of them are chaotic goblin games. Some of them are last minute thrown together. And yeah, some just suck. They're ruined by min-maxers or main character syndrome players. You know, they fall apart. But this is DM's League. Monk. Yeah, right. This is Adventure League. This is like public games where you can just go play with random people who they're not your friends. You know, it's a grab bag of people. You can get good people, you can get bad people. There's people all over. Epic style games at Adventures League I've heard of. I've never played one, but they're supposed to be dynamic. So it's like, yeah, if one person you're all playing on the same map. So if one party is ahead of everyone else and they do something that changes the weather, then that DM tells all the other DMs that the weather's changed to this, and then that has a predetermined set of conditions that then applies to every other table. Which on paper sounds super, super cool. Sounds like a pain to run. I probably wouldn't volunteer to run one, but I would probably definitely play in one.
I mean, it sounds fun. Like, imagine if one group of people accidentally started like a giant snowstorm blizzard across everybody else's table, but they're inside a cave. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it makes me feel almost like it's like a West March game, but instead of like people are coming in and dropping off the same plot, it's like the plot technically doesn't stop, but it's just happening in multiple instances. It's like, yeah, people are playing different tables, they're all at different points, but it's still one world. It's like an open world RPG kind of thing. Like, it's definitely an interesting mix, and it definitely sounds super cool. Yeah, connect. It's adjacent. You know, it's not like people from one table aren't going to run over and kill your players. You know, it's not like that. But it's if they take actions that have consequences, you might be the person who experiences the consequences, depending on how far ahead they are or how close to you are. You know. Let's see if this goes somewhere bad. It starts, and the GM is talking way faster than he should be. I'm not talking somebody who's just excited. I'm talking about essentially sentences with no space between his words and italicized the entire time. He comes down a little as the game goes on, but it was constantly him speaking as quickly as he could. In fact, speed was the constant undercurrent. He was expecting us to match his speed. He asked for a roll, and you had to better do it immediately. You give the number, he immediately charged ahead with his rushed narration. If you took a bit, he silently stared wide-eyed at you while you tried to calculate everything. It didn't help our pre-gen sheets were printed in an incredibly weird format, not typical D&D sheets. There was a silent undercurrent of, "You're holding up the table." And then there was LMC. He was an Adventurers League player, 5 levels ahead of us pre-gen scrubs, 10 versus our 5s. And was a wizard with several abilities and magical items. He got incredibly excited because our table was dealing with the elements of air, something tying heavily into his backstory. In fact, almost the entire time, he had a whirlwind illusion over his character, which gave him some sort of boost to his AC. The L in LMC comes from him enthusiastically talking constantly, both in volume and intensity. He was the main character. He made the decisions. He did the role-playing. He spoke to the NPCs. Before anyone could get in a word edgewise, he was there to do everything. He had a lady friend at the table who, despite the romantic relationship, I barely remember her saying anything at all. And it was seemingly encouraged by the GM. The two of them kept rapid fire going back and forth, with the GM speaking incredibly quickly and expecting instant rolls and results from everyone, while LMC let the GM, God, and everyone in the convention center know exactly what he was doing, sometimes adding extra embellishments and role-playing flair. I tried speaking up, but LMC was already there doing things, and what I would have wanted to do was either irrelevant or would have gotten in the way of his objective of killing enemies, which, given his constant AoE wizarding, was always. The Bugbear player, playing something else and also high-level Adventures League, was also min-max killing everything the AoEs, but that's besides the point. Which brings me back to the GM. His objective was not to do the module, but to get through mechanics. It wasn't an adventure, but a checklist of things to get through ASAP. Show up in an area, give the description, have the characters interact with the area appropriately, then move on. Always as quick as possible. Roll, result now, here's the description as written, go, 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 go.
Wow.
I don't know how much grace to give the GM in terms of, I believe his wording was, because of the tism. That being said, this is a lot.
I'm still wondering how, like, the Adventurers League player was 5 levels ahead. Like, I don't know if that's an Adventurers League thing, but
it's an Adventurers League thing. So if you make a character, you can keep the character with you every time you go back. And a lot of Adventurers Leagues, because it's never guaranteed to be the same people, they do XP. So if you're like, oh, I made this character for Tomb of Annihilation, and then you played all of Tomb of Annihilation, and you got enough XP on Tomb of Annihilation to reach level 8. If then they want to do this epic, and you're like, well, I'm bringing in the pre-approved character that I made at Adventures League, here's the sheet, here's everything signed for, you can come in with your level 8. In most cases. I mean, I don't know how the GM is supposed to expect the balancing, but I know that almost, like, this GM was kind of an asshole about it, about having the pre-gens, but every GM I know who's ever done Adventures League is supposed to have, like, 15 to 20 pre-gens, and it's like, if your character dies, here's another character, and we keep going. You know, it's like, there's not meant to be attachment to your character. Which is why some people min-max, because they don't want their character to die. They're like, I'll just make it so that I make this one character so well, I never need to learn a second one. Which, I mean, there's merits to that, and there's also not merits to that. But, I mean, just from the start, I mean, this GM, it seems like either he knows LMC, and they've played a lot, so they kind of are basically playing with each other. It sounds like they're just basically playing with each other. And everyone else just happens to be at the table. And probably because LMC is the only person who can keep up with the speed of game GM wants to play. Why he wants to play a game this quickly, I don't know. Because there's something to be said about...
Eat the table.
I guess. Like, there's something to be said about letting silence enunciate your point, right? Like, knowing when to say nothing and let the players build up the drama of a scene... or the drama of a narration or a description, and just letting it echo in an empty room, it can increase, like, the immersion and the vibe. It just seems like this dude is just reading, like, words on paper from the book, and we're moving, and we're moving, and we're moving, and that room doesn't matter, it's just a room, you don't need to go in there, and we're moving. Like, I didn't want a tour of the Tomb of Horrors. I wanted to play the Tomb of Horrors. So stop shoving me through the entryway, and let me investigate, you know?
Let me experience.
Yeah, let me roleplay. And then, of course, you got your main character, right? Your LMC. He's doing the thing. He's doing the drama clubs, the Spotlight Hog thing, where he's like,
he's the main character monk.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to do every single role, and that's it. I'm going to do all of them, and also I'm going to kill all the bad guys, and also I'm going to do everything, and you guys just sit there quietly. Which is just, like, sad. I mean, because it's sad. Because Adventurers League is supposed to be, like, a way that people who don't have access to another DM or another GM to get into the game and that's their source of playing the game. And this is just such a bad experience. Like, I wouldn't want to go back to Adventures League after this. If this was if this is what I learned to think of what the standard was. Because it's not like it's one person at the table. The Bugbear player is also, like, min-max this shit. So you're coming in and you're like, hey, I want a pre-gen. They hand you a level 5 Barbarian. And then you're dealing with a level 10 Wizard who, in D&D, once you cross double-digit levels with a spellcaster, you're basically God. And then the Bugbear is also high level. Maybe he's not as high level, but he's still high enough level that he's got AoEs. And so at this point, there's just no combat. It's just them casting Mega Super Fireball, and you're just like, oh, they're all dead by the time I get to my turn.
Bugbear with a reach of like 15.
15 feet, right? Yeah, he's going to cast a Vampiric Touch with extra reach or some shit.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, I don't see the fun. I don't see the fun in what LMC or DM or the GM is trying to do here.
I can see where LMC is having fun, but the DM, I just can't. That just doesn't make sense.
It feels like
LMC
work.
Is doing exactly what he wants to do, but it sounds like he's not happy.
Yeah.
The DM is not happy with what he's doing at all. It feels like he's just trying to get through it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
To me.
I know a lot of Adventures League is volunteer, so it's not necessarily like paid. So it's like, do you just not want to be here? You're like, how can I get through this module as fast as possible so that we can be done? If so, leave. Like, there's no gun to your head. It's volunteer. They'll get somebody else. I don't know. Maybe more will be revealed in the end.
Mm-hmm.
What further aggravated things was his absolute contempt for the module. He kept talking about how poorly it was written and constructed, bringing that to the forefront of several interactions. It wasn't a great module, admittedly, but it felt like it had personally offended him. At one point, he told us we couldn't get to the central area since it was time-gated by straight up telling us, your decisions don't really matter, you're just here to waste time until 2 hours have passed, then you can fight the main boss in the middle. With the constant speed, now, I gave inaccurate checks higher than it was supposed to be, lower than it was supposed to be, using abilities wrong, and on and on and on. He sometimes asked for checks I didn't process. He meant the whole table in the microseconds he was expecting rolls, and sometimes skipped right over me. I was irrelevant. My character was a barbarian-shaped statue that was getting carted everywhere, and my role as a player was just watch it happen. This was a similar fate for almost everyone else there at the table. Finally, we get to the end boss. Without getting into details, he was severely underpowered and defeated in 2 turns, or at least was played like that. Then there was the bomb we needed to dispose of, the table them flaffled about how to get rid of it. Then the GM said, yeah, that's it. No grand ends, as much as a shrug of a stop, and honestly, I was grateful for it. This was also a great deal ahead of schedule from when the convention events was supposed to end. LMC laughed about how he had never done speed D&D before. I typically thank GMs after the games, but this time I just quietly left. I asked the event's main organizer, super cool guy, if there was any other big events that were scheduled to happen amongst the tables, told no, then texted my wife and left. I was exhausted, I was stressed, I had zero fun other than getting a D&D experience that was incredibly unique. If I return to this convention next year, I'll sit at 1,000 other tables with GMs that monologue their game's lore for a few hours, then play with GMs again. At least I got to meet several local dice makers, and being that I am getting into the hobby myself, they alone made this convention 1,000 times more worth it. I hope to post more in r/dice making in the coming months.
Speed D&D.
But to what end?
To me, it sounds like the DM of the table had like a really just hated the module they were playing.
Maybe what happened was like each of the DMs put forth a module and his wasn't selected, and this one was
So
made
he
by
got
like
upset
his
about
arch nemesis.
Yeah.
And he's like, this guy doesn't know how to run D&D. I'm just gonna speed through it. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm just gonna mosey my players around in a circle to do nothing until the time limit's been reached and everyone has to fight the boss.
Yeah, I mean, I get to a degree, right, that like it's hard to run something if you don't like it. Like it's like, because then you feel like you're actively doing a disservice. if he genuinely doesn't like the module, and don't get me wrong, if the module has a time gate, like a real world time gate, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're at a convention and you're doing an epic. Everyone is playing at different speeds. So if you get a fast table, what are they going to sit there and jerk off for an hour? Like, you can't expect them to role play like, oh, you haven't hit your role play quota of 1 hour minimum. Like, that's a bad design.
Yeah.
You could argue, if the GM knows that, by going fast, he's actively making the problems that he knows are a problem worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he gets to the time gate quicker, and now they're all just sitting there with a thumb up their ass. Like, oh, well, it's because the module sucks. It's like, no, it's because if you'd slowed down for 5 minutes and narrated, you could have eaten 30 or 40 minutes. And then we would have gotten here just about when we needed to get here, and it wouldn't have seemed as bad, and the players would have had a better experience. Even if you would have had a shitty experience running it. Yeah, they wouldn't have felt that way. The important thing is that the players leave having felt like they accomplished something. The DM can always run another game, or improve the module, or do whatever. The important thing is the players.
My understanding of it, the way an epic seems like it's supposed to be played is just progressional. Whoever advances further in the story gets that point of the story faster.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like one of those things that you'd think you'd almost want, like, a final boss that, as more parties get to it, maybe it changes forms, you know?
Phases, something like that.
Like a Destiny boss, something like that. Like, there's a lot of ways you could... I mean, the author even admittedly, it's not a good module. So it just seemed like the module itself was pretty bare bones, pretty basic.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, they're not all gold winners, you know?
No.
That being said,
can't expect them to all be perfect.
Yeah, the DM is never supposed to peel back the curtain and go, your decisions don't really matter. You're just here to waste time. You're not supposed to say that, because you're just obliterating the illusion of choice.
I feel like that would ruin a table
absolutely
experience.
Make it feel horrible. It's like, yeah, everything you do doesn't actually matter anyways. We're here for 2 hours.
You can fight the boss now.
Yeah. Wait around until we fight the boss. And then maybe, and even with LMC, right? It seems like maybe he didn't know this guy. Maybe he's just a guy who's like... LMC just must be someone who plays a lot of D&D. That he's like, oh, is that guy going at Mock Jesus? That's okay. I can match that. And then he just matches it. He's like, I could play speed D&D. And then he, like, the same way that, like, me or like, I could. Like, if you put me in front of this guy, and he just starts saying checks, I know what all the checks do. I know what stats are related to all the checks. I know about what thing requires what check. I could probably keep up with him. That doesn't mean it will be fun, but I could probably keep up with him. But someone who's like, I'm just here to have a good time, and they're just being like, wide-eyed fish-eye stare if you don't make the roll in 2 nanoseconds, you're just killing the vibe of the table.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be death glared because I took a little too long to find the save that I need to click.
Yeah, because I had to look at what my nature modifier was on my fighter. You know, it's like, well, that's such a non-used stat. I have to look at it. Especially when you know half the table's using pre-gen characters. What do you think, they memorized it in the 1 second since you handed them the sheet?
Especially when they say that the sheets aren't in normal format.
Exactly. So it's like you actively made it harder for them to know. And then it's like you could argue that like a lot of stuff isn't on the GM, right? The module stuff, right? Especially like with the way that the final boss was set up. The final boss was severely underpowered and defeated in 2 turns. Well, that's because whoever made the module wasn't expecting to have 3 min maxers at the table, right?
2 level 10.
2 level 10s, like, because you can't
wizard and something max level min max bugbear.
Yeah, because if you balanced for it, for those high level players, the level 5s would get slaughtered on turn 1. So they have to be underpowered, and so then when you have a couple of different people at your table who are min maxing, they fucking wipe the whole encounter, and then it's like, okay, well, that's not the GM's fault. That's not the GM's fault, right? He didn't make the module. But the other stuff, like the speed, the attitude, staring at people, I mean, like I said, you give him a little grace if he has autism, right? But even then, I know people with autism. That doesn't mean they fucking start the lawnmower in their head instead of fucking going at 87 miles an hour for speaking. Like, they're not robots set to 3 times speed. They're still people. It's not a get out of jail free card. Like, if you know that is something that is so significant an issue that you have to point it out, maybe DMing is not something you should be doing right now. Maybe you should try maybe like speech therapy or something. And then when you're better, you can DM, right? Especially if
then
you
you
know
can
if
resume.
yeah, you know, you don't just because you want to doesn't mean you have to at this specific moment, you know. And if you're making 6 other people's experience actively worse because you're ignoring your own problems, that's not fair to them, you know. Not gatekeeping being a DM, but you need to be mentally aware of what you're doing, you know. I wouldn't DM a session if I knew that I had laryngitis, you know. I'd be like, well, sorry guys, you're not going to hear a word I say for the next 3 hours because it's all going to come out raspy. It's like, or you could just not DM today. You could let someone else do it and then come back when you're feeling better. It seems like this was at a convention. He got to meet a bunch of dice makers, and we all know
And he got
there's
into the
nothing better to D&D players than math rocks. So
Math rocks.
The math rocks.
Oh, have you seen those new posts about the giant cabinet wardrobes for your dice collections?
I have.
Oh my god.
Like 10 fits over like 3,000 dice. I'm like, that's so much. I need it.
I want to buy one of those recreational slot machines, but I want to
Just so you can
file
fill it
out
with
the
dice.
coin. I want to file out the coin thing, so that way when you hit it, it's just fucking it's just dice that pour out instead of money.
You know what? We need to get that for Brontes' Fireball.
Yeah.
Just like roll the dice.
Yeah, pre-packaged things of 8d6.
Oh my god. That'd be
I think
great.
that'd be great.
You could probably find that on the internet somewhere.
Well, I've seen that for health potions. I've seen like little red jars with resin and acrylic, and they've got 2d4, a 4d4, and 8d4, and it's for your normal, your greater, and your superior healing potion.
Mm-hmm.
And you just flip it over and onto the table, and that's the roll, and then you put them back in the jar. I wouldn't even necessarily know who's worse here. Like, I think LMC is obnoxious. I don't think he's malicious.
I feel like the GM in this case was the more problematic.
Yeah. I think he's even if he's not intending malice, the way about he's doing things is portraying like, I'm not having fun, and I'm going to make that everyone's problem. Which is just very childish. And it's not something that a grown adult should be doing, especially not someone at a convention. What do you guys think? Final thoughts? Well, I mean, we all feel bad for the OP, but what are we thinking for this? This is...
If you don't want to DM a module, don't DM the module. It just makes it a horrible experience for everybody else. I think the DM is 100% at fault in this story.
Yeah, no.
A good DM can take the worst module and at least make it fun to play, even if it's not like mechanically fun to play, you know? Like if you can make it entertaining with like jokes, narration, music, you can kind of spice it up, even if it's dog, right? Even if it's absolute dog water. But if the DM hates the module and he already acts like he hates it before you even had a chance to experience it, he's going to make you hate it. And then you're going to hate him for making you experience it. And now everybody hates everybody. And that doesn't help anyone.
And everyone goes home upset.
Exactly. And everyone goes home upset. With probably a lot less money, because this is a convention. It probably wasn't free to get in. It probably wasn't free to play.
Probably not.
Until next time.